What's up, you guys? Coach Rye from Team Flex right here on the YouTube channel. We got a new vibe and a lot of cool stuff coming for you guys. Today's one example of those where we're going to go ahead and we're going to break down the 2021 Olympia. And we're going to break down bikini, talk about, the placings, what the judges are looking for, and what this criteria means now, the standard being set at the Olympia for you at every level. Whether it's your first show, you're a pro, or whatever, what is going to change with next season based on the Olympia, okay? And like I said, you guys, we're firing this channel up, doing a bunch of new content, so please make sure you do me a favor and subscribe, and let me know your thoughts about Bikini Olympia down in the comments below at any point in time. I really want to hear it, and let me know what you want me to play on this channel for you, okay? So let's talk about bikini. You guys, we just had the Olympia, and it was a great Olympia in so many ways, bringing in wellness, bringing in a lot of new bikini athletes, and a new bikini champion, okay? This is all gone down, amid everything else going on in the world that's been crazy. It's been a crazy 2 years for the sport of bodybuilding with the pandemic and everything else going on. But here we are, and we had, finally, even though the Olympia is over in Florida this year yet again, we had it. It was done. It's been completed. And this means for a lot of you out there that, you might be moving to your off season, your improvement season at this point, getting ready for next season. The Olympia kind of is a time of year that we look at almost the end of the season for the sport at that point. There's obviously going to be other shows and other things going on, but really it kind of, after the Olympia goes down, everything trickles down. People start, training for the next season at this point. So I want to break down today kind of how the placings went and what the judges are looking for and what it's going to mean for you going into next year, whatever level you're at. So the cool thing about Olympia that all of you need to know, okay, if you're watching this and you're thinking about competing, you're watching this, you're already a competitor, you want to get yourself to the Olympia stage, whatever it is you got to understand the Olympia is where the judges set the standard for pretty much the next season, okay? The criteria is always changing depending on a number of different factors, but one of the main ones being, who shows up. The athletes are actually there. And as you guys know, Janet, our former Olympia champion, she did not attend Olympia this year, which meant no matter what, we were going to get crowned a new champion. So we're looking at this call out here, this being the first call out, and let's break down exactly what the judges are looking for. First thing that you need to know when you're looking at this call out, okay, is many of these athletes are former Bikini Olympia actual champions, okay? We have a couple in the mix here, and the other ones have been in the top for a very long time. So, it takes a lot of consistency and a lot of work to maintain this type of physique and to actually get there. And the thing that's going to stand out to you right away that is the foundation of bikini is the shape, okay? So shape becomes a very important factor for bikini, and it doesn't matter if you're a pro, you're on the Olympia stage or you're doing your first show. You want to make sure you have that foundation of muscle that creates the hourglass shape. And you'll see here that hourglass shape is created by the width up top, the shoulder development, the lats, things like this that draw into the narrowing of the waist and widen back out in the lower body. And you'll see, the glute development becomes important with that, the quad development, the hamstrings, and everything else when we get to the back poses. But realistically, what we're looking at here is going to be two poses that exemplify the hourglass, the front and the back pose. And this is what the judges want to see for the foundation of this division. If you don't have this muscle, okay, you want to make sure that you're training enough to get it. You want to have that shape. And so let's talk about how this shape is created and how it's broke down. Okay, you'll see these athletes all have pretty rounded deltoids, right? Their shoulders definitely have some work. They've been putting the work in. They definitely have that width that creates that first bit up top. But it's not only going to be the shoulders that do that. It's also going to be the lats, okay? And the lats become important in the front pose. As you guys can see, it creates that width, which tapers it down into the waist, but it's also very important in the back pose. When we actually look at the back pose too, you're going to see that tapered look is exemplified there as well. So you really want to make sure when you're training as a bikini athlete that you're going to hit the shoulders and you're going to hit the lats. So you're really going to be still working upper body, because you also want to make sure you're going to get the arms and everything else in there to match. It's not only about the shoulders, it's not only about that, but that's really what creates that width and that shape for the upper body. Okay, at the waist now, you'll notice many bikini athletes, they do not exemplify any kind of hard striations in the abs, any cuts, any things like that. that. Sometimes you'll see athletes that have more ab development than others, and it can either hurt or help them. For a lot of people, though, it can actually, be a detriment, especially IFBB level, at the national level, things like this where you might be getting too lean. If you come in too lean, you got a hard six-pack, the judges see it. It could be an indicator that you are too lean overall, and you're going to score down, because the conditioning in this division, you guys, and as you're seeing in these shots, is not supposed to be hard. Okay, you're not supposed to show striations and all these deep cuts and things like that. If you were going to do that, a better division for you would probably be figure, where you can have more muscle and be leaner. In this division, it's about the lines, it's about the soft lines, it's not about the hard striations, the splits in the quads, the striation and deltoid, anything like that. Okay, so very important to remember that. Midsection, the key here, and you guys know I know Sandy Williamson very well. She's the head judge at the Olympia. She's the head judge for women's divisions, bikini, wellness, all these things. She says the key here is a flat stomach. Okay, so you'll see that here exemplified at Olympia as well. All these athletes have a flat stomach. They're definitely not holding extra body fat, but they're also not striated and showing, six-pack abs and these deep cuts. Okay, very important to remember that. One muscle to stand out to just a little bit is that oblique. You want to make sure you have a little bit of oblique as a bikini competitor, because again, this helps you sweep that shape in. And you'll see all variances of, the definition of that. Some athletes come in too hard, some a little too soft, but either way, you want to make sure you have it. And you'll see these athletes, especially in our top 5, really do have a little bit of oblique action going on to lead the eye down to now the lower body hourglass, right? If we had the base part of this hourglass, it would be the glutes, the quads, the lower body overall, the hamstrings, everything tying in together. Now, glute development becomes very key in this division, because you want to have that match, your shoulder. That's really how you're going to get that hourglass. The width up top tapers in, widens back out, lower body. That's the key. That glute development is key, and specifically one area that many bikini competitors lack and will always get scored down for, which we're not coincidentally seeing a lot of, anybody having a problem with on the Olympia stage, is the upper glute roundness. Okay, this becomes so important to have because it gives you the shape from the front, and it also gives you the shape from the back. If you don't have the upper glute roundness, you really want to make sure you're focusing that. You want to have good glute development overall, definitely something that's going to pop out on stage from the front and from the back, but also specifically focus on the upper glute. I'm telling you, it will change the game for you as a bikini competitor, especially if you're in pursuit of a pro card or going beyond that. You want to make sure you have that, and if you don't, if that's lacking, that's a major area of focus. And you'll see here in our first call at Olympia, all of these athletes really do have defined, well-developed upper glutes. Okay, they have that shape overall. A lot of times when an athlete does not have that, you'll see kind of like this weird effect where maybe they have like half the glute really built. It kind of looks like the top is pretty straight, and then all of a sudden, boom, there's much down there. Sometimes even athletes get accused of having, surgery or other methods using synthol or whatever oils to inject because it looks so off. A lot of times that's not the case, and we're not seeing anybody Olympia with that, but it does happen to the point where, if you're not focused on that upper glute, it will be a detriment to you. Okay, so now we're looking at the rest of the lower body. Quads are important to have this development. You'll notice none of these ladies have huge quads. And this is an interesting distinction thinking about wellness coming to stage this year, right? You want to have this development, but you definitely don't want to have overpowering quads. And a couple of the athletes that do have bigger quads, say, for example, Issa over there, it looks like she's got some pretty good quad development. She did not, land in the top 3 at this point. So pretty interesting considering she's a former Olympia champion. She pushed the conditioning a little bit too much of the muscle maybe, and that could be why she's out there, not in the top 3, did not retain her title this year, come back and win it. So it's interesting to see that, right? Considering wellness, where obviously the quads are very much bigger. And I would tell you that a lot of these athletes that are in the top here had to probably downsize to get into these spots at this point because of wellness being added to Olympia. So the quads become important to have some development. You don't want to have a crazy amount. You'll see Jen Dory, she's right there in the middle, and she's the one that is our new Bikini Olympia champion. She's not have huge quads, you guys. She's got some symmetrical quads that match the shape of her body, but she is not overdone in any way, shape, or form there at that point. Okay, now looking into the back pose, really the key here is to have that glute development, like I told you, that roundness, that shape, all that comes together, and have the tightness of the glute ham tie-in. Okay, you guys know this is not a specific muscle. Somebody tells you it is, they're joking with you, they're lying to you, whatever it is, but really it is important to have this here. This is an area the judges look for to see if you're holding extra body fat. It's not to say they need to see it or you need to have hard glute ham ties, anything like that, just to make sure that area is tight. You know, it's not a point where you're holding extra body fat, where a lot of women will, bikini competitors will, if they are not in the right condition. So it's a tell sign for the judges, if you have that, to, you know, to know that you're in the right shape, the right condition. And remember what I just said, if you bring it too hard, this is also an area where they'll look and they'll see, okay, are you two showing too much striation at this point? Is it too deep of a cut in the glute ham tie? Is all that coming together to the point where they can see, okay, that athlete is actually a little bit too lean? We'll see, you know, Jen Dory right up next to Laura Lee there. Laura Lee showing a little bit, maybe too much glute ham tie. And that could be why she did not win at the show. She could have been a little too lean. And I know, you know, honestly, looking at her stage shots over the past season here, she's downsized considerably from when she first stepped on stage. And I think that, again, that's what her feedback probably was for many events, because of wellness and all these things. If she wanted to improve, she had to bring it in just a little bit, you know, and she still may have come in just a little bit too lean. You'll see Jen Dory, you know, she's got the softer glute ham tie, but it's still there. It's definitely still there. And Ashley Kay over on the side, same thing. You know, definitely still have it, showing a little bit of hamstring, not too much, not these too crazy cuts, anything like that. And that is what ties in this top three, you guys. That's really what brings it together. The shape with the muscle, the flattening of the abs, the glutes with the upper glute development, not too big in the quads, not too crazy at the hamstrings, but showing just a little bit of that tightness in the glute ham tie. Okay, you'll notice the lines, they're all pretty soft. You guys, conditioning in this division is the softest that we see in the women's divisions overall. It's on par with wellness, but you know, it's nothing like figure, women's physique, especially women's bodybuilding, where the conditioning just becomes more and more important. The lower body fat here, they actually want to see you be a little bit softer, and that's what we're seeing. You guys, if you checked out the rest of the call outs and you moved all the way down the list, you know, through this, you're going to see variances of some athletes being too soft, some of them being too hard, some of them having not the right shape, not the right proportion, you know, a little bit too much lower body versus the upper, etc. This is the standard, though, of bikini now moving forward. And interestingly enough, I would tell you guys, it's nothing too surprising considering everything we've been seeing over the past year, 2 years, 3 years. You know, bikini has, you know, overall taken a lot of different changes, a lot of different time to develop over the years. If you look back at the first bikini competitor, you would really be blown away how much this criteria has developed, how many things have changed, how stuff has really tied in differently. And, you know, as now we have this standard, the past couple of years has been a lot more consistent, and the judges continue to carve it out. So this year's not all too surprising considering what we're looking at. You know, in this top, we have, you know, former Miss Olympia champions. We have some new champions, but all competitors that have been in the top for a very long time. Okay, like Jen Dory's been in here for a while now at this point, taking second last year. You know, Janet's out. It's kind of given she would probably take that first home. So it is now at a spot where bikini moving forward is probably going to continue to exemplify this look, continue to separate itself from wellness. So if you're training for bikini at any level, you want to make sure you're bringing these things home. You're not coming in too hard. You're not coming in too lean. You're staying on par with your conditioning to the point where, you know, you show some soft lines, but you're not being crazy. And this was a problem, you know, a lot before, but it's always been a problem with this division. It's still spiking up, and I think people are now getting confused even more because wellness is here. Wellness and bikini conditioning is the same, you guys. It's pretty on par. Very little change there, very little difference. What does differentiate with wellness athletes is they carry more muscle, so it can make them look leaner, okay? But bikini, the focus is not to be bringing in too lean of a look. You want to have your conditioning be on par, on point, but not too lean. And if you come in too lean, it's going to be a problem. Alternatively, you come in too soft, it'll be a problem, okay? All these areas I indicated judges are looking at and they're looking for are areas you want to make sure you have in your physique. You want to have this hourglass shape. You want to have the right conditioning. You want to make sure that you don't have extra body fat in the stomach and the glute ham area. You know, these areas that are going to be key factors for judges to look at. All this comes down to how your physique is going to be at play. And remember, this is the judges judging at this criteria now, moving down the chain all the way to even novice, your first show. It doesn't mean you got to look like these ladies to compete in those categories or do your first show, but it is what the judges are trained on, what they're looking at, and everybody looks to the top Olympians as the example for the criteria, okay? So very important to remember that as you move into your season next year, you want to have these things, really work to attain the shape. Don't starve off your muscle, ladies. This is what so many coaches push, so many competitors do, is they diet too hard, they burn all the muscle, they think conditioning is everything, being leaner is everything, and eventually you get to the spot where you're going to have to take time off now for a year, 2 years to regain the muscle. The key to this division is that muscle, it's that shape, it's that proportion, coming in with the right conditioning and the posing. Obviously, posing, presentation are huge factors here, especially at Olympia level. If you have even all of these things I just mentioned, you know, the right physique, the right muscle development, if you don't know how to pose and present it, it's worth nothing. Okay, so you really want to make sure you don't not focus on those areas. You should always be posing 365. But really, you know, if you're trying to figure out where bikini is heading this year, I'm gonna tell you right now, it's gonna head into an area where we have a softer look. We have a lot of emphasis on not having overdeveloped quads, not having overdeveloped glutes, not having too much muscle, not being asymmetrical. The hourglass shape is going to be, you know, queen for this division more than it ever was. And, you know, they're really going to try to make sure that they have this delineation between bikini and wellness, because I know a lot of athletes are very confused about this. I get coaches even asking me every day, hey, how do I train a wellness athlete versus a bikini athlete? What's the difference here? What's the difference there? Because a lot of people have been very confused about the criteria. And so, you know, I'm also doing a video talking about the wellness criteria, going over the Wellness Olympia. So you guys make sure you check that out on my channel, and also make sure you subscribe. I want to hear your thoughts though. What do you think of our current lineup of bikini top 5 champions? Are you happy with that? Are you happy with Jen Dory winning this thing? Do you think somebody else should have won? Comment your thoughts down below. Let me know, you guys. And at any point in time, if you want to train like a bikini athlete for free and get an example of what we do at Team Flex for our coaching, go to my website, teamfflex.com, and subscribe to our free coaching trial, and I will show you everything you need to do to get this shape and do your best in 2022. All right, you guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Coach Rai is out.